fast. Fast didn't work. Big didn't work. I was case.
You sure fast?
King. King. Boom. 4 letters. Or 4 words.
There we go.
Alright, you guys want to do belt?
Belt.
Belt.
West.
Belt. Or we also got a bats. I'll look on both trees. We'll see which one gets it. Bust.
Felt.
I heard bust and must.
There we go. That one works.
Felt.
I heard belt.
Hey, how you going to felt?
I'm just writing but you can.
I don't know.
We're not going to bust. We're not going to bang.
Damn it! I keep mixing them up.
Damn.
Anyways, we made it.
I keep mixing them up.
Last one.
Tape. To board.
Here, cord.
Whoa.
Beautiful. We only have one more. Although I don't know if we're going to have one on Tuesday. What if I do there's one more? No, look, I can look like that. Otherwise, I'm going to have to come up with one.
Why the fuck?
Invalid username or password.
Why is this in down mode?
Yeah, there's.
What is
I
this
got one. I got one right now. All right. No more pointers.
Hooray.
Hey,
Dang it.
You do not need pointers for your game. You can use them. You can create dynamic stuff. You may have to depending on what you're storing. Right, but overall, you don't really need dynamic stuff for your game. Will it be on the desk?
Probably.
Oh yeah, for sure. Right. Remember I said the last lab you did was a good thing to look at for the test. Right, which is a week from Thursday. 9 days away. Right?
Is Canvas broken? What is this?
The answer is no. All right. Today we're going to talk about strings. On Thursday we'll talk about more strings.
Okay.
All right. Sound good? Can we handle that? Sure. Why not? All right. The first part's going to be pretty. We're going to use ourselves in.
What are strings?
Because we've been using strings all semester long, but I haven't really formally talked about how they work. All right, so strings get their name from string of characters. I don't know if anyone was ever curious why we call them strings. Right? Just like you told me they were strings. So just like we call them doubles, which is a weird word. Right, yeah, right, strings of characters. We know it has its own include, right? String brings it in, right? Bless you. That's a free strings are not a native data type. Right, they are not built into C++. Our native data types are int, double, char, string, wolf. Not string, wolf. Just plural. Right? I call them plain old data types. Right, they're just basic data types. Right, strings though we know because we've talked about a little bit. Right, are not built in, and they're a class. Right, string is a class, which means what we create from strings are really what? Objects, right? So all our strings are objects. So in fact, from the first day of this semester, you started creating objects. You just didn't realize that's what you were creating. And then I taught you objects, and you got all confused. I don't know why. I do know why. But we treat them like native data types, right? Meaning that we use all the operators that we use on our plain old data types on strings, right? Equal sign for assignment. Does that work? Yeah. Plus for concatenation, right? It works. What is concatenation? Fancy word for adding two strings together, right? Joining strings. So take string 1, string 2, and join them together to form a third string, which is the combination of two. And because people like to make up cool big words, it's a nice word, right? So for example, string 1 is hello with a space. String 2 is world with an exclamation point. We can say string 3 gets assigned string 1 plus string 2. So string 3 is what? Hello world, right? Take the two strings and join them together.
Isn't that just a lot of code to just write one string that says that?
Yeah, obviously. If I'm trying to give you an easy example, why would I not just make S3 equal hello world? But you can do pluses, and it works. There's some good reasons why you want to do it. Not this example, but other. You can compare strings, right? Two equal signs for what?
Exactly equals.
Exactly. Right? Less than equal, greater than equal. Let me talk about that in a sec. Right? Not equal makes sense. Right? But how can strings be less than or greater than each other? They're going to compare kind of the bits, but they're going to compare the characters.
The value of the characters, like
The
A is 65 or something?
The ASCII value of the characters.
Yes.
Right? So it doesn't use like alphabetic ordering for less than or greater than, it uses ASCII ordering. And in ASCII ordering, numbers are smaller than uppercase letters, which are smaller than lowercase letters. So lowercase letters are the biggest thing. Right? So you use a greater than symbol and that right word, right, that string has lowercase letters, it's always going to be bigger than the other. The lowercase letters are larger. Right? That's just how
That's weird considering like you need to use shift to even access. I don't know, that sounds weird.
Once again, I didn't make ASCII, that's what it is. They're always initialized with empty strings, right? Why? Plain old data types always start with what? Garbage. Strings, though, don't start with garbage because they are from a class, right? They're an object.
Yep.
When an object's created, what runs? Constructor, right? And so, right, you can put the dots together, connect the dots, and say, well, the constructor, like the default constructor for strings must set strings to be empty.
And that's why strings don't get their special color. Because
Right.
they're part of
They're not built in.
Yeah.
Right, they're an add-on. Just like when you create a class called car, right, it doesn't get a special color, right, because it's an add-on. Right? Empty string, by that I just literally mean like nothing inside the quotes, right? There's nothing in there. Because strings can be 0, 1 to many characters, right? They got no characters in them, one character or many characters.
That's where you would use your plus sign a lot, right? Because you want like to output.
Empty string that you want to add.
You just
more
want to
stuff.
output and then you can change that for.
Yeah, for sure. You can test for the empty string. One of the ways to test is just to say S1 double equals, right, the empty string, which is an opening double quote and a closing double quote with no space in between. Right? If you put a space in there, then it's not an empty string, right? Then the string contains a what? A space. Right? All right. That was quick. Look at an example.
When I was looking up FizzBuzz stuff,
Yeah.
it was like planning for the future was like one of the things that they're going to want to see. So they used that output empty string
Okay.
and then
then
added it so
start
that they could change one thing and
Later
the
on.
entire program can now mod 7 instead of 5.
Pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do this.
Question.
Yes.
When you're using string operators, so they have to be labeled S1, S2, S3, or can you name them whatever you want?
You can name whatever you want. That was just my example.
Okay.
So just to reiterate, when I say int, my int, right, everyone good? Int turns red.
Yep.
Right, but when I say string, my string, right, this string turn red.
Nope.
No, it's what? It's not built in, right?
It's
an
yeah.
It would be nice if it turned red, but it doesn't. Right, can I do my string equals hello?
Yes.
Yeah, right? Like, yeah, we've been doing that for forever. Thanks. Right? Fancy word concatenation is just adding strings together, right? And I can do something like this: my string plus equals, right? Space world. Right? And so when I see out my string, not my int, my string, right? What outputs?
Hello world.
Right? Because the plus equal says take my string, add world to it, and then assign it back into what? I run that, and there I have it. Hello world. And my tiny little text. All right, just trust me, that's what it says. All right, good so far? All right, let's create a string, not a string. Come on. You my fingers back on the right side. String lower equals hello space world exclamation point. Let's see out it. Right, and hopefully you've realized that case matters in strings. Right? Probably after you wrote assignment 4, you realized case matter because all the error messages, right? If you forgot an uppercase letter, right, it said you failed the test, right? Because the case had to be the same. And so let's write a simple if statement. If, right?
My string is less than.
Still.
Right, we do it either way, right? Less than lower, right? See out, right? Lower is larger. Right? Else, right? See out what?
My string is higher. Larger.
Yeah.
Rude.
And which one we're expecting is going to say lower is larger, or is going to say my string is larger?
The lowercase one, lower.
Right, lower, because lower is
Larger.
right, larger values. Right, so I get hello world and hello world, which is lowercase, and I get lower is larger.
Nailed it.
Fancy word for that, lexicographic ordering. Lexicographic ordering uses ASCII as a standard.
Does that go by the first character in the thing, or does it like add them, or what?
And yeah, it goes character by character, but it's for the full string. So like you're saying, well, what if,
It's cumulative or no?
right, what if I made this like a, what do you want me to make this instead?
Hello. Hello.
Lower is still larger.
You're trying to see how many capitals you have to add to make it lower than hello world?
So here, you want me to do an H and then O here? Pretty sure it goes character by character first. Right. So this is larger than that, so then,
Well, what if you change, like, so that one has 3 uppercase letters and one has 2? Does that matter?
we do that and then do. Right, this all the letters should equal the same, right?
Right.
They'll add up to the same. But we're gonna get that lower and larger. It's the first time, right? It's kind of like alphabetical ordering where you're looking at the first characters, which one's larger or smaller. Right now, which one's larger. But if they're the same,
Would this be like if you were enumerating something and you wanted to see which one, like if you're checking the state? Like, when would you want to do this?
you don't really want to do it. Okay. If you want to do alphabetic ordering, you would do it, but you would need to either uppercase the whole string or lowercase the whole string. Right, that way you're comparing them exactly the same.
Maybe if you're building something like a process.
I couldn't hear.
Strings are very fun to work with when you're doing stuff that's strings, right? So in your game, you might be working with strings, but maybe you'll store stuff as a string and get stuff from certain places in the string. Right? Which leads me to the more exciting stuff that we do with strings. So that was all kind of what we were doing. Right? Let's look at string manipulation. Right? How can we manipulate and work with strings? Because strings are strings of what? Characters. Which means that inside of a string are characters, right? And so we can actually get each character in a string and manipulate them. All right, so let's talk about how we do that. The two things we're going to look at today are getting and setting a character, right, and find out how many characters are in a string. So your brain's going to go somewhere, right? But think of each character in a string having a number assigned to it, right? Basically a location, right? So the string hello can look like that, which looks a lot like a what?
An array.
An array, right? Is a string an array?
Yes.
No, it's an object.
Object.
Right? But probably internally somewhere in that object, is there an array of characters?
Yes.
Yes. But a string is an object, right? So it's not an array. But behind the scenes, there must be an array somewhere. Always dynamic, yeah. Yes, it's definitely dynamic. Are we good with this? Right? So H, the character H, right? The character H is at location 0, right? The character O is at location 4. Okay? Because it's kind of like an array, you can use array syntax to get to it. Right? So you can use square brackets. Right? So if I say my string bracket 0, that's going to be a what?
H.
An H, right? And my string bracket 4 is going to be a
O.
And my string bracket 2 is going to be a
O.
Right? You can also use it for assignment. Right? So my string bracket 0 becomes a J. So now what do we have?
Jello.
Jello. And then my string at 4 becomes a Y, and we have? Jelly. And then my string at 0 becomes B, and we have?
Belly.
A belly from eating all the jelly and the Jello, right?
Okay.
Hey. Kind of keep you entertained a little bit, right? Okay. What problem do we run into with square brackets? You can fall off the cliff, right? You can go, right? Is there a my string bracket 5?
No.
No. Is there a my string bracket -1? No.
Wait.
Right? So you can't, right? Well, you shouldn't go outside of your bounds, right?
We're gonna say yes.
Okay.
Do you want to email them or you want?
Yeah, I'll take it from there, I guess.
You'll do it?
Yeah, yeah.
All right, they want to know today.
Okay.
In order.
I'll email them between. Okay. Thanks, Dwight. We're getting rid of all the old crappy computers. Yes! We're getting crappy dummies. Not crappy. Hopefully.
Yeah, what are you guys gonna do?
No, they'll be. You want the handle? Is that what you said? I don't know what they'll do with it. They want their own mouth. You don't want these. These things are so old. Like, I can do something with it, right? I don't know. Eventually they go to system.
So what if that was hello space? Would it be?
Space is a
It would be
character.
five.
So there
Okay.
is something. And I hope you realize that with concatenation, right, this array is going to grow, right? It can get bigger. Are we good with that? With arrays, we don't really have a great way of doing this. We track ourselves so we don't run off. All right. So instead of using square brackets, we use a function called .at, right? Which makes sense, right? I want to get in my string something at location 0 or something at location 5, right? Which returns a character, right? Very good. Strings double quotes, but what I get back out with the at function is a character, right? Single. So we're getting a character at this location. Right? So you get a runtime error if the position doesn't exist. So instead of falling off the cliff, your program crashes. But that's good, right? Having your program crash consistently is better than having your program crash inconsistently. Consistently, you can find it. Inconsistently, it's really hard to find because you run it one time, it works great, right? You turn it into me, and I run it, and it crashes, right? Hopefully, you always hope it does the other thing, right? It always crashes for me, but maybe it won't crash for you, right? But .at will always crash, and then you can figure out why it did.
Can you only
Jumping
do
off the
this with
cliff
strings?
will sometimes crash your program, and sometimes do other weird things.
Can you only do this with strings? Can you-
.at works only with strings.
Okay.
Right? New arrays in C++ have something kind of like this, which I'm going to teach my students next semester.
Nice.
You, like, order finalization using the array, we just use an operator and check the
You could, right? So you could write an if statement, but you don't always have to write the if statement.
Not even an if statement, just be like, something like, hello minus array element, something like that. Or like size of the array, so if you size of the array, that size would constantly be updated by the size of the string that is inserted.
Which is happening already. But once I want to get a character, there's nothing limiting from giving it any number to add, except for using .at, right? So the example is going to be the same, right? My string at 0 is going to be what? H. My string at 3 is going to be
L.
L, and my string at 7 is going to be a
Runtime error.
runtime error.
Crash.
Right? This is getting, right? So .at gets characters, but .at also sets them. It's kind of weird because we've never assigned things to a function call, right? Everyone see J gets assigned to this function call. Don't worry about how it's doing that. So my string at 0 becomes a J, so hello becomes hello again. My string at 4 becomes a Y, so O becomes a Y. Right, we got jelly. And then I say my string at 7, I get a runtime error, right? Because I've gone off the cliff. If I use square brackets, not going to get a runtime error, right? Undefined behavior. If I use .at, I will always get a what? Runtime. You can also get how many characters are in a string. Arrays don't remember how many things are in them, right? Which is kind of dumb, right? But strings do, right? Because they're an object, right? So they've done that. And in fact, when you wrote the double list, right? If you think about it, you wrote a double list that had an array inside of it, but one of your member variables was the size, right? So your object that you created, right, had an array and also remembered the size. In the same way, strings have an array in them, and they also remember the what?
So that at functions would just come measure function says
Return a character at this
yeah,
location.
characters larger than location.
But we realize length of the string is like how many characters in the string, right? Size of the string. Right, so there's a function .length. My string .length tells me how many characters are in the string, right? Whereas in JavaScript, it's .length without parentheses. There's also one called .size, which isn't in my slides, but I'll use it in today's lecture. .size and .length are literally the exact same function. I'm using .size now because it's 2 less characters. But you can use .length or .size, both are valid.
Why is that the case? Because like for both of them, like both of those functions were written by the same person, people.
It must have been two versions that like they integrated together and just kept both for string s1 equals hello, comma string s2 equals goodbye. So if I said s1 dot length for n, that would evaluate to what?
5.
5, good. Right, and s2 dot length would evaluate to
7.
tell me once again how many characters are in the string.
Okay.
Which is going to allow me to do something cool with the string here in a minute, and pretty much what you'll have to do in your lab today.
Just make
Let's look at this.
a joke.
Oh, it's already go. What am I doing? Here we go. String s equals hello. All right, and then I can once again see out s. All right, can see out right s dot at right 0. I can also see out s bracket 3, which is not the way that I want you to do it, but just showing you that it works. If I do that, all right, we have hello, and we get what? An H and an F.
Oh, this is what we fixed on
Okay. This will be useful. What if I see out, right, S bracket 5? What's going to happen?
Wah, wah, wah.
We jump off the cliff, which may or may not do anything. Did it crash?
No.
Right. Probably if I did like S at like 500,
It probably freak out.
probably like oh, they didn't crash. What do you know? Undefined behavior. Right, what should we use instead though?
5 million.
Dot
Dot
at.
at 5 million. So when I say s dot at 5 and I run it, right, what does it say?
Terminate the call for throwing an instant of standard out of range.
No, it crashed. Right, code 134, right, loading code 0. So it crashed, and it crashed after it threw an error message called out of range. Right, and what did it call? Well, the at function, right? I didn't see the at. So at got called, and it told you that it went out of range. Right, so it's protecting you from falling off the cliff. Right, might be breaking some bones, but it saves you from falling. Where should let that goes?
Is there a
We should call s dot at 4 equals space.
I mean, just the fact that they are something legally. A lot of times they don't.
That would be pretty good.
People.
S dot at 4 equals space. We should totally go and do that.
All right, so that was too far.
Can you reassign 4 to be a space?
S dot at 4 is a space.
Will it override it as a space?
Notice it's character space.
Yeah.
String space. And see how.
He knows what we did.
All right, and now.
Nailed it.
He was aware of what we did.
He's like, wait, okay. Okay.
You're not the first person. Anyways, right, every good dot at also assigns stuff. All right. How many characters are my string? 5, right? So if I s dot size, hopefully I get what? 5. Make sense? Let's do this here. I'm gonna make it J. Okay.
There we
Now, non-profound statement, but strings always output horizontally, right? Am I good with that? How would I output a string vertically?
End line.
For loop, right? An indel, right?
Yeah.
So if I combine a for loop and an indel treating a string like an array, basically, I can start at the first letter, output it, slap a new line on it, output the next one, slap a new line.
Yes.
So if I need to
You could theoretically do that.
It shouldn't be a for loop and a for loop. You could, you want me to do that? Yeah, let's try this. No, include IO minute. using STD set code.
Set width?
Yeah, watch. Because I don't know, Maher wants us to do vertical or diagonally.
Right.
I'm gonna try
Diagonally.
diagonal. We'll see how it turns out. Anti equals 0. I less than what?
Size.
Right, which is S dot size, right? And I goes up, right? And I'm gonna see out with a setting the width to I. Right? S dot at I. Right? This S dot at I is very important, right?
That's
S
your
dot at I
iteration.
is for my string, go to the character at location I, right?
Yep.
Which allows me to manipulate it, output it, do whatever. If I do this.
Oh no. Hello.
Why did the E not go?
Because really I should have done I plus what?
+1?
Plus 1. Because the first time I set width to 0.
Right.
Oh. Oh no.
Oh crap. I went out of range?
Yeah, because the
You're
last
going
one.
above the size.
Where?
With
So
your
you have to do
Oh, I went
size.
wrong spot.
You have to
Yeah.
put size +1 too.
I meant I plus 1.
Yeah.
That's where it's supposed to go. What is I plus 1? Not the other, that's what I thought. There you go.
Oh, there you go.
We could have done like I times 2. Then I'll go even more right.
Oh, I guess it works.
Right? Gives us control, right? What does the for loop do? It gives us control over each character in a string, right? And now that I can control each character in the string, then we talk about character functions that we can use with characters, right? To do things. Some of them you've seen, some of them will be new, and they should just make a lot of sense. So look at some of our character functions, right? So character functions act on characters much like string functions act on strings. Okay? One big difference though. Strings are objects, yes? Which means all the functions were dot something, right? My string dot at, string dot size. Right? Everyone good with that? Everyone good with y, right? Because it's an object, right? Call the member function of the object. Are characters objects? No, so am I going to use the dot operator? No, I'm going to pass in as an argument a character and usually get back a character, right? Or Boolean or what have you. Although we'll see, we're going to get back to integers and we're going to talk about why. All of these are included in a library called CC type, so we need to include it.
That's what you had in that.
Yeah, mine was
You didn't talk about it, but it was in there.
Yeah, it was just left over from yesterday. So we're going to talk about two kinds of functions. We're going to talk about is functions, and then we're going to talk about our two lower and two upper functions. Okay? Is functions are basically asking the question, is this character something? Right? And what is that something? So is alpha is asking the question, is the character alphabet? Meaning, is it A to Z, upper or lowercase? Make sense? Yeah. Is digit is asking if the character is a digit. Not if the character is an integer value, but is it a digit, right? There are 10 numbers that are characters that are digits.
0 through 9.
0 through 9. Character 0, character 1, character 2. Does that make sense? Right? Yeah, right. It's going to evaluate the character. So look at the character and say, is this right a character that is a digit? Aldo's combination of both, right? Is it alpha and is it numeric? Right? So now you get 0 through 9, A through Z alpha. Okay? Notice I say that the parameter type is character. So you pass in a single character into these functions, what do you get back?
Character.
You get an integer.
A value.
Right? But usually is functions should return a Boolean. Right? Because you're asking the question, is it this? And the answer is either yes or no, right? True or false. Does that make sense? And so when you dive into the description, it says it returns a non-zero value, right? If the argument is an upper or lowercase letter. Otherwise, it returns 0. Now we know 0 is what? False. And any other number is?
True.
True. Does that make sense? So it returns an integer, but you can treat the integer as if it was a Boolean, a true or false statement, right? But we're going to find out, do not compare the answer to true or false. And we're going to see why that might be a problem. So those ones you might use a little bit more right? Is punct for punctuation, is space for white space, which is a space, a tab, a new line character, right? Or control characters, such as like your arrow keys are control characters. And there's just other questions that ask, right? Is it this? Once again, they don't return true or false. They return a value that you could treat as if it was true or false. Make sense? Right? Two more. Is it a lowercase character? Is it an uppercase character? And those lower and upper only work on letters, right? A through Z, upper or lower. Make sense? Right? And then the ones that are a little bit different are the two lower and two upper. Right? Instead of asking the question, is it lowercase or upper, it says, I'm going to take in a character and I'm going to give you back the lowercase version of this character. I'm going to give you back the uppercase version of this character. Once again, it will only. What? I'm going to talk about that in a second. Okay, cool. Right? It's not a typo. If you try to lowercase any letter that's not lowercaseable, I just made that up, right? We're going to roll with it. Right? It's just not going to do anything to it. So if I'm trying to lowercase an exclamation point, the lowercase version of an exclamation point is a exclamation point. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right? But if it is an uppercase letter, it will lowercase it. And if it's a lowercase letter, it will uppercase it. But what you get back is not a character, you get back a what? An integer. Which means what you get back is the ASCII equivalent of the character. Which, as long as you store it back into a character, not a problem. If you try to see out it, which I'm going to show you, you'll get back the number, not the actual character. All right, so let's go through these. Today might be the shortest lecture we've ever done. Right? Just kind of coasting
Oh my
out.
goodness.
All right, let's look at this.
Which is weird considering you were always gonna teach us that later.
Right? Later's almost out now, right? I hope you haven't written down like the last day of class. You're like, here's all the things you said you were going to teach us that you never did.
Because that would just be a realization of the stuff that you actually did go over and we just never really
Right,
caught on
exactly.
to.
Like, we did learn that. Okay. So is alpha A, right, is going to return what? Not 1, but any integer that
Isn't it like
is non-zero,
65 or something?
right? A non-zero value. And what do I get back? 1024, which is just no ASCII only goes up to like 125.
Yeah, no.
It's just the value that comes back, which is a non-zero value, right? If I ask the same question, right?
Where's it coming
is
from?
alpha, and I said 0, right? Then I get back what? 0, right? Because is 0 as a character an alphabetic character?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, no.
It's not
No.
A through Z.
Wait, so what is the number that it is returning?
No, that's for 2 upper and 2 lower. Yeah. Well, let's look at it. Is 0 character a digit?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, right? So I'm going to get a non-zero value. It's not going to be 1024. This time I get 1, right? They're probably just subtracting bits behind the scenes somewhere to make up the answer.
Oh, okay. So it's 0 if it's not true, and any random number.
Any random number
if it is true. That's all it's saying.
Okay.
Like you could run that again, and it could give you. Like if you refresh the page, would it give you a different random number?
No.
It'll still be 1.
Should always be. It's not just me. All right, so let's look at this. If is alpha A, right, is A alphabetic?
Yes.
Right, we're going to say if that equals true, then we're going to see out, right? A is
For apple.
apple.
Yes.
A is for apple.
Else what?
And no.
A is not for apple? I don't know. Like, because here A is not
A is
alphabetic,
for
right? So
A.
it's
That
not
feels
apple, it's
good,
not
yeah.
part of the alphabet.
That feels
Right? Are we good with that?
Yeah.
So we run it, and what do we get?
A is not for apple?
A is not for apple, right? Weird, right? Agreed?
Yeah.
Because we know that A is for apple.
Well, it's
A is alphabetic, right? So
didn't you compare it
Well, let's talk about, is alpha does not return a Boolean. What does it return? A non-zero number, right? That I said you should treat it as if it was a Boolean, right?
Right.
But let's talk about, I'm actually comparing it to a Boolean, right? We know that this number came back as 1024,
Yeah.
right? This value is true. 1024 as an int and true as a Boolean, can they be compared?
No.
No, without doing what?
Setting 1024 to something.
Well, automatic, remember automatic type conversion,
Oh yeah.
Yes.
right? Remember that weird like not 6 equals greater than whatever?
Oh my God.
But obviously,
But it's taking the literal.
not evaluating it as true, it's taking the true and evaluating it as what?
Is 1 equal to
True is getting
1024?
converted to 1, and this is what?
1024.
And this 1024 equal 1?
Nope.
No, so A is what?
Not for Apple.
Not for Apple. Not for Apple? So you have to treat the value as if it was a what? A Boolean, which means that, guess what? In an if statement, what you put in the parentheses is a Boolean expression, right?
Yep.
So treat the is alpha function as a Boolean, right? And
That
so
makes
don't
more
say
sense.
equals true. Guess what? The top thing will evaluate if it is true. So now it says if 1024. Is 1024 true?
If it's greater than 1.
Well, even if it's 1, right? Only if it's not 0. Right?
Greater than or equal to 1.
Right? Or less than or equal to negative.
Yeah.
Either side.
You
Only
just
with
don't.
0.
You don't want to write something that's not equal, right? You don't. That's not good practice. You said.
Usually, you don't really want to throw a lot of knots.
Yeah.
Now, what am I going to get for my answer?
A is for Alpha.
A is for Apple, right? Because 1024 gets evaluated as true. Oh yeah, if true, it's going to run A is for Apple. Right, exactly. If I said is punctuation, maybe that one. and they should change color.
There we go.
Now, it is not. But really, it is. Does it make sense?
Because you
Treat
got
the
that
assumptions
0.
as if they were Boolean, not.
That's because
We'll
that's
compare them to Boolean.
Don't use Boolean.
so that's coming out as 0.
In this example, yes, that's coming out as 0.
Okay.
It will always come out as 0 if it's not what you're asking. All right, let's see, what else can we do? We can see out, right, 2 upper, all right, A. All right. So I take a lowercase a, I'm uppercasing it, and I get what?
65.
65, which
All day.
in ASCII is an uppercase A. Right?
You.
How can I fix it?
2 lower. Or
2 lower. No, don't 2 lower. Do static cast. Remember static cast?
Yeah, I remember that.
Maybe.
sure. Let's say yeah.
What do we get? We get A. Now, probably that's not what you would do, though. This is what you would probably do.
Why wouldn't you just see out the character A in a capital?
Well, we're assuming, right? We're assuming that I'm just putting the literals in there, but right? Let's imagine that character C, right, is lowercase a, right?
Or if you're getting something to see in something.
Right, exactly. You don't know what it is. Right. So it's coming from somewhere else. So what you could do is you could say C equals the 2 upper, right, version of C. Right? Probably should have named it C because I feel like it's an A, not a C. What is 2 upper, the value of C? The value of C is A, right? So A gets converted to 65. We just saw that, right? A gets converted to 65. But 65 gets assigned to a character. Can 65 go under character? No, it has to get converted to a what? A character, right? And so 65 gets converted to uppercase A. So when I see out C, what do I have? Good.
Isn't that just like enumerating?
Yeah.
No.
No, not enumerating.
It was already in uppercase A.
It was already uppercase A, it was just, so you're not even worried. And even like that, let's like put an exclamation point. Right? So it's uppercase and exclamation point, and we'll get back to the next one. So you don't have to check, right? A lot of students want to say, if is upper this character, then lowercase it, that you can just lowercase it, and they'll do it. Right? If it's lowercase, it'll stay lowercase. If it's not a letter, it'll stay not a letter, right? But if it's uppercase, it'll become lowercase. Okay. Where this gets kind of nice is that instead of saying C equals 2 upper C, you can do things like C equals like reader dot read care, and YYNN. Remember when we used to do this?
Yeah.
Way long ago, right? Which you're gonna, by the way, you're gonna need to use C and reader in your assignment 5, right? Because if you use CN, then I'm gonna try to break it. Right? Don't know this, right? You use C and reader, right? Make
Try to
it a
break
member, right, of your class, and then just use it on.
So,
Right.
so
But if you think
we
about
pass
it,
if he doesn't break
This
it?
says reader character, and that character has to be either upper or lowercase y or upper or lowercase n. Agreed? Now I take that, let's say that they did a lowercase y. So this whole thing becomes a lowercase y. Everyone following?
Yeah.
And then I send it into the what? 2 upper function, so lowercase y becomes
Capital Y.
capital Y. And so what do I store? Capital Y, which means that now when I look at that character, I only have to compare it to the uppercase version of it. Right? I'll just say if C equals uppercase Y or C equals lowercase y. I can say C equals uppercase Y because I know for sure that's
That's like if you're saying, like if there was like an age gate before you could view like a game website. If you're 18, then it will give you access to the website or it won't.
So there's all sorts of
That way they can
Fortunes like
compare
that?
You want to make sure that whatever that input, right? You even if you had like a menu, right? Choose A, B, C, or D for your options, right?
Mhm.
They can type lowercase a or uppercase a.
Okay.
Because I know some of you, when you did assignment 2, you basically forced the user to always do either uppercase or lowercase. But like, screw that, I'm not going to say this or that. Right? So now you don't have to. This is nicer for the user, right? Because they can type it. I know.
Who cares about
They're
them?
not great. Does it make sense a little bit?
We told us they're stupid anyways.
Yeah. They are. Just that they're not trustworthy.
And then we send it to you, who is our user, and you're just breaking everything.
That's right. See, I'm not trustworthy either. Any other questions about this? You're gonna do something like this today, but you're also gonna do it on strings. Like I'm gonna have you like uppercase a string or lowercase a string. But the only function you have to upper and lowercase work on characters. So if I want you to uppercase an entire string, but you can only work on characters, you need to what? For loop, right? And dot f. For loop with dot out in the middle, and then you're good. Which I wrote for loop for you and dot out. So I think we'll do. That's what today's lab's on, which I'll talk about in a second, but I do want to talk about your game a little bit. I want to give you a framework if you want to use it for movement. Okay.
I was actually going to ask a question about assignment 5.
Okay.
With regards to including characters in the narrative of the story,
We're talking about like
because it says
real
that,
characters, not like the character A. B, C.
well, like people talking to you,
Yeah, yeah.
you're supposed to have one, right?
Okay.
Do they have to talk to the player directly, or can they talk to each other?
Yes.
Yes.
Is it required for the player to interact with the character in the game, or can we overhear conversations? Because I was thinking about going with a stealth game escape style approach.
Yes. That is great.
Yes.
Okay.
You just need interaction. It doesn't mean the user has to interact, right? They just have to do interactions in the game. So that interaction is, I hear somebody, so should I crawl or peek around the corner? Then that's interaction.
Okay.
How's that? Right.
That sounds more, yeah, okay.
But no one else can do stealth game now, all right? This guy was doing it.
Oh, okay.
You can do a sneak game,
Say
but
this.
not a stealth game. Okay?
This
You
is
can do
a
an indie
sneaking
game,
mission.
but no stealth game. All right. Anyways, when we talk about movement, I thought that it would be better if I just wrote it. Normally I write it on the board and then people don't take pictures of it and then they come and ask me again. So I'm going to put it on my Cloud9. All right, which means that if you go to my URL, you'll have it. I recommend you get that soonish if you think that you want to use it. You do not, pay attention, you do not need to use this as game movement, but for some people, it helps to give them a framework of like how to get my game started, and then they'll build off. Okay?
Can I just turn in my
No, not this
JavaScript
Thursday.
final last year?
Next Thursday.
Can I just turn in a program that actually compiles? Technically, that's a grade, right? All he says is
Stop you from failing.
no. It just says it has to compile.
Well,
Doesn't say I have to write anything in there.
Labs too, right?
When is the last round?
Thursday's your last lab. Lab 24.
Technically, all you have to make is.
You didn't teach PNA 1 last semester, did you?
I taught one.
Some of it?
One section.
You didn't have Maddie in your class?
With his C inhibitor.
Yeah.
You did?
No, Maddie was in April.
Oh.
Well, she was with me in that class, but she was concurrently in PNA 1. I think.
No, I don't think she was in mine.
She'd maybe been Boyd. Was Boyd teaching you?
Yeah, Boyd was teaching. We were each teaching one section. I taught 5 classes last semester.
Oh.
Jeez. And my head almost fell out.
It almost fell.
So there's only 123 next semester?
23, you mean 22?
Oh,
CSCI 23.
there's no CSCI.
Oh, yeah, 23, yeah, there's only one.
Then that's like every third
That's
semester?
if you're a CIS major, you want to take 23.
Yeah.
If you're not a CIS major, then you don't.
Ignore me.
We're going to do CNC. Okay.
Because it's at like 3 in the afternoon. Like, cheating.
Hey, my web design class is at 8 in the morning, so.
Oh wow.
On main campus.
Oh, that's just great.
I would do that.
Good morning. Let's make some web.
But in the afternoon, it's like I can't work, can't go anywhere. It's on campus.
This is perfect. It's right at noon.
It's gonna come back. All right, let's make my class called game, right? I'm gonna make everything very generic. Okay, you should not call your class game. Your class is stealth game, you should call it stealth game.
Okay.
Game 1, yeah.
Can you can have multiple classes though, right?
What?
You can have multiple classes though.
You
Right?
can, okay, so I'm writing kind of a game that would just be in one class, but there are lots of reasons why you would want to write multiple classes. But I'm not requiring it because that is extra work. But you want to challenge yourself.
You can only have one function.
In your game.
Well, like you could have like an
But the other
island
classes, you don't have
class.
to have public stuff because you'll have to. But I'll show you how. You can have private. So I'll show you.
But you can have like.
So I'm gonna do public. I'm gonna do private. All right. My public things, really, you're only gonna have 2 public things. Your constructor, which guess what? Your constructor constructs your game world, right? And then I'm gonna have a function called start. Now my private section, I'm going to have an integer called current room underscore. Right? Current room is an attribute, meaning that it's shared in all of my functions. Are we good with that? Class attributes are shared in all your functions, right? Underscore variables are shared. Right? And so no matter where I am in my game, whatever function I'm in, I'll always know what room I'm in because current room underscore has the value. Make sense so far?
Sure.
And then I'm just going to make some dummy rooms. So void room 1. Rooms do not need to be functions, but you may find out that that just makes it easier for you. I like my 3 generic rooms. Room 1, room 2, room 3.
And I can't wait to get to room 3.
And for me, current room, I'm going to start in room 1, and as it changes, I'm going to try to move from room 1 to room 2. Make sense? Any questions there? Kevin?
The code that you're writing right now, is that it's supposed to be in gamemovement.cpp? Because I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah, it's
And
different.
it has something completely different there. Game, my very awesomely long named game, my very awesomely
That's what I wrote
long named game
yesterday. It just
start.
must not have updated yet.
Oh, okay. But is it?
Yep.
Boom.
You don't get my very awesomely game.
Haha.
Crap.
I'll do something else. Anyways, so I'm going to copy my functions. Right? I'm bringing private down, but we know we don't actually bring private down. Right? Right?
Yeah.
Yes.
sir.
We are in concurrence.
Okay. So we get rid of private, right? And now, right, I have to do, right, stuff on my functions. Game, colon, game, void, game, colon, start, room. You're probably tired of doing this.
So I made other classes called myself.
Okay.
Because I didn't, you said we're not supposed to ever put functions in the private section.
No, you can put functions in the private section. You put them in the private section if you don't want the user to access it.
Okay.
So I can use them.
So my constructor constructs my game, right? I only have one attribute right now. So in my game, I can say current room equals what?
0. 1.
I don't have a parameter, so it's not a, right? I'm not asking the user to tell me which room to start. Right? I'm forcing the user to start into 1. You'll see though that this will, the way I'm writing it could be helpful for like play testing it, because maybe I want it to start in room 8. Not that you have 8 rooms, but maybe I want to start in room 8.
That
Because
value.
I'm tired of going to room 1, answering the same riddle, and going to room 2, and unlocking this, and going to room 3, right? So you can actually mess with your constructor to set you to different places in your game. Basically set different states in your game. Right, and then just make sure before you turn it in, right, you set it all back to what the initial state is. But it gets really annoying to play test your game and go through the same thing over and over and over again to get to what you want.
I would have to do that with
Maybe being a game
mine.
maker is not that exciting. You're just playing someone else's game. Anyways.
Well, the final last semester in April's class. Trying to get collision detection. I was like, oh, every time.
So my current room starts at what? Everyone good there? But that really doesn't mean anything until I write code that deals with current room and takes me to where I want. Does that make sense a little bit? I'm going to write a while loop, right? Because my game's going to start and start. So I'm going to write a while loop. This while loop should run while your game's running. Right? So your condition should be like while game not over, whatever that is. I don't know what that is, right? But while the game's not over, we're going to loop.
While player alive, blah, 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 or something.
Exactly. While health greater than 0. I don't know, right? That makes sense? And because I don't know, I'm just going to say true. Not true. True. Right? Which means that my game's going to run for forever. It's never going to. Right? That's the whole goal of my game, for you to get lost in it.
This is the game that we have.
Do you guys, are we going to take about, do we like switches more or if else?
If else, if else, have mercy. If else, please.
God damn it, dude.
If else.
Switches are great for what I'm going to do here, so I'm going to switch.
Oh.
Because I'm going to switch on my current room.
The streamer's doing something.
All right, let's think about this. I'm going to switch on my current room. When,
That's what I was like.
right, case is 1, which room do I want to go to?
Room 1.
Room 1, so I'm just going to type room 1 paren. And then at the end of the case, what do we have to type?
Break.
Case 2, right, then what?
Room 2.
Room 2, and then what?
Break.
Break.
Thanks.
Oh, I have no idea how many I'm going to do.
What the heck? Everything just got deleted.
Alt Z.
What the heck? Oh, I know, that other weird stuff was happening.
I might have control.
Wait, can you just Alt Z it?
No, it didn't work. Case 1. No one else got control of that. Room 1. Break. Case 2. Room 2. And break. Make sense? Everyone kind of good with what I'm doing here?
What if Boyd's just in his office screwing with your...
Room 4. There's no room 4. Right. And basically, let's think about what happens. When my game starts, and we'll write it in main in a second, but when my game starts, I'm going to call the start function. It's going to say while true. Is true true?
Yep.
Yeah, right? So then it's going to say switch on the current room. In the constructor, current room got set to what? 1. So it's going to go to case what?
1.
1. And so we're going to do something in room 1.
Sure.
And then when I'm done with room 1, right, think about it, that function will end, and it'll take me back to where? To here, which will break my switch, which will take me back to the top, and true is still true, right? And then I'll switch on whatever room I'm in now. Right, so in my rooms, if I just set current room to a different room, when the function ends, I will go to that. Does that make sense?
So would you want it to be like incrementing something when you're, that like is stored when the room is done to make sure you switch
if
it?
it's like very sequential, but there could just be a choice, right? You're in room A, you see a door here, and you see a door here, right? And if they choose this door, you set current room to 2. If they choose this door, you set current room to 2. That's really all you need for movement, right? No, we're not gonna put characters around on the screen. It's a text based.
Yeah, you can do it.
You could, but you have to like really do stuff. I'm gonna say one other thing. Oh yeah, when you do your, remember the map pseudocode, right? You just label your room, like this is room 1, room 2, right? So you know when you're coding room 1, you know the choices are you go to room 2 or room 3 or room 4 if you've unlocked something. All right, so let's write the rooms, right? In room 1, right? Now basically each function is a room, and so in that room you would do things that you would do in that room, right? So you would give a very nice description of where you're at, like you're in room 1.
Wow.
All right, here we go with that. All right, the next one you would say what?
You're in a dimly lit room.
And then you're in room.
Your game is amazing.
No one make a game like this. Okay, this is my game.
Okay.
And I'll do this.
God damn it.
When that happens,
Yeah,
My game is exactly like that.
Mine was like made way before yours.
All right. And then you would not do this, but right now I need some kind of like input or we won't move. And because I'm in a loop that will always loop, we'll just infinitely loop. And I'll just keep saying you're in room 1 over and over. So here, right, you probably don't want to give your user the freedom to just put in whatever room they want to go to. Does that make sense? Right, but imagine that there's some menu, right? If you want to go, right, see out, right? You see a room on the left and a room on the right, right? Type 1 to go in this room, type 2 to go in that room. And the 1 doesn't correspond to room 1, just like menu option 1, menu. Does that make sense a little bit? Right? But I just didn't see him, so let's see what happens.
Everything he's describing is exactly.
Why didn't I write a main? Want me to write a main? I told you main was really
Your
short.
mind brain is just
Right, in
that
main.
powerful.
I just input
Right,
like God.
main,
You never die.
G dot start.
GG,
I
bro.
need a main.
GG.
I didn't put it in, I didn't make an H file or anything. Oh yeah, we're in mine right now.
Where are you?
I named it a strange place. Get out of the strange place. Here we go. So I'm gonna run it, and hopefully you can see that it says what?
You're in room 1.
I'm in room 1, right? So I'm in the room 1 function. I'm gonna go down, I'm in the room 1 function, and now I have a CSCI statement for current room. So if I type 3, right, it's gonna say what? You're in room 3, and I'm in room 3 because room 1 function ended. Okay? Then it went back to my switch ended, loop ended, went back to the top of the loop, and I switched on 3 as opposed to 1, which took me to room 3. Does everyone see that?
How come this isn't? Do you have to like reload it?
Now, if you want to move in the middle of a room, so basically like in the narrative, like halfway through your function, it's like, I want to go to room 3, but I don't want to do any other stuff. Right? How do you end a function? What do you type? Return, right? So if you want to return in the middle of the function, you just type return in the middle of the function. Function ends. You go back to your switch and switches you to the middle. So I can go from room 3, I should be able to go room 2. Right? Now I'm in room 1.
Should type 4 and see what happens.
It's a very cool open world game you have there.
Room W, and now it doesn't look like anything happened, but you'll notice that I can't. Oh.
I give it a 9 out of 10. Needs more content.
I believe I shouldn't be stuck in an infinite loop. There's no more space. So that's probably why.
9 out of 10 needs more content.
Anyways. Oh yeah, look, the things all
Needs DLC.
If I go smaller, I think it'll give me that. Won't give me my stats.
It's trying to retrieve the map pack, but you didn't download it.
Oh my god. You need to connect to Xbox Live.
You need to purchase more loot bucks before you can. Yeah.
You need to renew your
Before you
membership
can
to
go those
Xbox
rooms.
Live.
That's messed up.
Does this make sense? Structurally, what I'm doing?
Yeah.
Right? This is better, okay, than
Where's
probably
party
what
chat?
I'm not gonna say this is what you thought you were gonna do. But right, imagine if you're in room 1 and then you're like, I wanna go to room 3, we'll just call the room 3 function. Right? Will that take me to room 3?
Yeah.
Yeah, if I'm in room 3 and I want to go to room 2, I just call the what? Room 2 function, and then if I'm in room 2, I just call the what? Room 1 function. But this is what happens, right? Room 1 function call gets called. Everyone go with that? When you're in room 1, before the room 1 function ended, I called what?
Room 2.
Some other room, right? That makes sense? So this function is still running. It's not really running, but it's still there.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right? Because it never ended.
It's taking up
It's waiting for
processing
this one
power.
to end, and then, right, it'll come back. Does that make sense? And then this one calls room 3, which then calls what? Room 1 or something. Everyone see how they're stacking on top of each other?
So all that memory is getting in processing power.
So it's all being held in memory,
Yeah.
right? And then, right, which is bad, but even worse, just imagine that you've done this 50 times, and the game ends. So my stack's super tall, the top one just ended, what happens? It goes back to the previous one, and then goes back to the previous one. What if there's more text in there,
Oh.
right? So it says, you win, and it goes back. The ogre is still attacking you, right? And then it goes back, and it says, you're now in, does that make sense?
Yeah.
You can't get out of the game because your 50, things end.
And are those stuck on the heap or the stack?
This is a stack, which we really talk about. Right? Yeah, right? You don't want to do this, right? What are we doing? The start function, right? The start function will call room 1. In room 1, we'll change current room to room 2. Then the room function ends, so we go back to start, and then start takes us to where?
Room 2.
The room 2 function, right? And then in room 2, we change it to, maybe we don't change rooms, right? So then this function ends, go back to start, and then we go back into room 2. Does that make sense? Right? So I'm only ever one more function call up, as opposed to 50. Which means that when I end the game in room 4, then it goes back to start, it checks my condition, right, while game not over. Oh, game's over. Right? And then you can say, see how you win or you lose. You died of starvation. Dysentery. You died of dysentery.
Is this Oregon Trail?
Yeah, I don't think Oregon Trail now either because we talked about
But
it.
so I just for understanding sake, I'm gonna counter the question here. What if
on a trail?
there were pieces that they missed in one room that would have let them go into a new room? And that function closed, so I have to go through it the entirety of it again to get the piece.
Maybe. That's up to you and how your game works. Now,
Because that just makes you do each room every time from the beginning, right?
this does.
Yeah.
No, you don't have to, right? You choose what current room is, so you choose the movement. If I'm in room 1, I may not be able to go to room 4. Okay, right? You need a menu to handle that, right? I just did a simple scan statement just to show you.
Yeah.
But yeah, you should not, right? You should not do this ever, right? And you probably don't even want to say reader.read in current room, right? Current room equals reader.read in, because then they can type whatever. Now, I guess if you set it up right, you could say, right, reader.read at 1, 3 or something. Maybe go to 1, 2. But most of the time, you want to limit it by some menu, right? But you want to go here, press A. You want to go here, press B. And then in that if statement, right, if user's input equals B, right, current room equals what? Does that make sense? What I'm not showing you, right, this is just movement, but you're going to have a lot more attributes than just current room underscore. Right? So, right, bool, right, bool as dysentery.
Isn't that awesome?
Throw an underscore on, anyways, right? So, in games, a lot of times Booleans are great because Booleans help you with the state of your game. Do you have dysentery or do you not? Right? And so, somewhere in the game, you may then say, right, has dysentery equals true. Because you ate something off the floor that you shouldn't. Right? And then, in some of your functions, you'd be like, if has dysentery, then, right, health goes down, or whatever, right? Or maybe just always just output to have dysentery at the beginning of the function. Right? And so as your Booleans change, you have to have if statements that check them, which then changes kind of what the game is like. And then, right, as I create more attributes in my constructor, right, I get to decide what? If, when you start the game, if you have dysentery.
Has dysentery equals false.
Oh, good. That's so nice. I really don't want to start your game with dysentery. Maybe that's the whole point of the game.
No, you have
Start with
dysentery now.
dysentery, and by the end, you don't have it here. Or
You have to heal yourself now.
Exactly.
You could say has dysentery, you have this much time before you die to complete the game.
Exactly. Right?
Boom.
So then you would loop, right? If this was true, right? That would, if you start the game with have dysentery, then right down here you would loop while has dysentery. Remember, you loop until the game's over, right? So while you have dysentery, you're going to keep going through the rooms, try to get healed. And eventually, you'll set it to false, and when it comes out, switch will land, and then below switch it out. You no longer have it. Yay.
It says update.
You don't know.
I know everything.
Just don't go on the trails.
And definitely don't.
It's so funny because like an Oregon trail, you're only in Oregon for like the last like minute of the game. You're on the trail.
That's the point. It's the Oregon
Right, always
Trail.
float the river as they.
It's kind of cool. You can Google Bob of the Klondike, and that's my great grandpa. He like pioneered the gold rush on the Klondike. Yeah, and it's and like the way it's written is like Oregon Trail. It's like the accounts of Robert Henderson. It's kind of cool. Yeah.
Does this make sense? Right? Do you have to do it this way?
Kinda.
No, I mean, this is just one framework to do it, right? And you can take this framework and modify it and do whatever you want. But I hope not everyone has dysentery in the game. No, we don't want that.
Why just do that as an inside joke now?
You know, right? Everyone's gonna have it, right? That's gonna be like the name of the character, right?
That's
All right. Well, I mean, if you really want to animate using a file, you have to like make a bunch of pictures, like your flip thing, right?
I know, I can do that, but I'm just getting the thing to move.
You just output the file, clear the screen, output the file, again, clear the screen, output the file. If you want to go real crazy, you would use a library called Incurses. Incurses. No, just N. And that allows for like getting input from users without being
What?
Exactly.
I am confusion.
No, I want to try and do something simple that like you require an app, so like if you can do something from one spot.
So that might not be in a file per se, you might make it like as a 2D array. Put all the characters in the 2D array and then have the location store the X and Y coordinates of the location, and so as you output it, like the map never changes, but the location of the person on the range. You can just output the whole thing, you know where they are and add one.
No, yeah, I saw that it was in there, but like
You don't have to
everyone
go lab today?
class, like,
I'm undecided on whether or not you're gonna have to do your lab on Thursday.
Wait, what?
But you can hear that from me.
What?
You're right, you didn't hear it from me. Who are you again?
Say that again.
What? I said you have to do a lab today.
Okay.
I said I'm undecided on whether or not I'm gonna make you do this Thursday's lab. I can't tell you yet, because then you just won't show up.
No, we'll show up because you have a lecture.
What I'm thinking is that if you show up on Thursday, I'll probably tell the class that you don't have to do it. But if you don't show up on Thursday, I'm not gonna tell those people they don't have to do it. So they'll turn it in, and all you have to turn in is a text file that says, I don't have to turn it in.
Oh, okay.
That's
That's evil. Knievel.
But if on Thursday I change my mind, I'm gonna work with you. All right, this is what you're making today. Everyone pay attention? That wants to pay attention? You're gonna write a class called string helper, which has helper functions for strings, for figure, right? 5 functions. I wrote one of them already for you. You need to write the other 4. Okay? I wrote the declarations of all of them. Right? A function called capitalize. Capitalize takes a string as input, right? Everyone see the string to capitalize the parameter, that's our input. And it's going to capitalize the first character in the string. First character in the string at location what? 0. So I'm going to pass my, right, to capitalize at 0 into the to upper function, to uppercase. And then notice line 19, right? The first word is string. So that function returns a string. So I'm going to return my to uppercase, or to capitalize I'll show you what that one is. Upper and lowercase, same thing, but, right, you're doing it to the entire word, which means you need a what? For loop, right? To remind us what that for loop looks like, because I am in a good mood today so far. Right. For int I equals 0, right? I less than my string dot size, right? I plus plus. Please note, if you're going to copy this code, right? String is the name of my string, which if you look at all my parameters, none of them are named str, right? They're named things like to uppercase or to lowercase or to count or to check. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Right? And inside of here, you're going to do something, right, with string dot at I. Does that make sense? You're going to do something with that. Whether you're going to uppercase it or lowercase it, whether you're going to check to see, right, count numeric checks to see how many characters in the string are numeric characters, numbers, right? So you can check it with isDigit. So maybe you need to check string at I with isDigit. Right? Check alphabetics to make sure all the characters are alphabetic characters, right? Is alpha. Right? So you're going to write those 4 functions, and I wrote the 5th one. So you're going to copy just these 4, right? You're going to put them below main. In main, I wrote a nice menu. Hey, menu, like you might write a menu in your game.
Hey.
Hey, what do you know? And a switch to handle the menu. Anyways,
Hey.
right? Down here, I wrote the capitalize, right? String helper, colon, capitalize, string to capitalize. Notice I take 2 capitalize, which is my string. I take the character at 0, and I assign it the to upper version of the same character at 0. Okay? Just passing a character into to upper and to lower does not store the upper or lowercase version of itself. Right? You have to store it back into it. Does that make sense? Right? I can't just say, if I say to upper, right, and I pass in, right, lowercase a, right, that just becomes 65. Did I do anything with the 65? No, right? So you got to store it into something, right? Assign it. That make sense? So you have those 4 functions to write. That's for your lab today. And then, right, we have our game to continue to work on because that's due in a week, plus a couple days, right? One more lecture on whatever day comes after the day after tomorrow, right? And then next week we'll do Thursday, right? Next week we'll do review a week from today and a test next Thursday.
I think you should take the rest of the week off.
Yeah, that sounds
You haven't been fishing in a while.
Yeah, I know. I need to go fishing. My kid the other day, I don't fish, but literally my son the other day goes, Dad, when are we gonna go fishing? Like, I don't even have a fishing rod. I don't understand where this question is coming from.
And you're like,
Gotta look at
finish that
Gotta
program.
look at a kid's one though, because he can go fishing.
Son, I thought I told you to write that program. It's like 5 years old.
Yeah, it's expensive.
This is why programmers don't fish. It's like,
Why just make him a fishing game?
What's up with programmer, right? So I can
oh
know.
my god. Who's ever gonna go fishing? I don't get it.
All right.
They should make
Questions? We good? Kevin, any last questions? You got your game question answered, right?
Yeah, more or less.
It's pretty open, right? Hopefully you realize that, right? The game overall is pretty open. If you might make something that might be set that has things to do, you're doing pretty well. If I break it? Well, then you're gonna try and break it, right? Yeah, I mean, depending on how much time I have.
Look, it looks pretty good. I'll just try to break it.
No, I come to this.
I don't know what we're doing. What am I supposed to do?
No more weeks. Hang on for no more weeks, guys. What we get? Oh, the link. Same link to yours, but just replace your username with Luke at Muse. So, whatever, right? Yours is like cloud9.ide.io or ide.cloud9.io / your username / PA1SPA.
No one have access to the movement one?
Yeah. I would do that now because I think when my workspace dies, like goes to sleep, I don't know if you're going to erase that. And in about 2 hours, I'm going to delete it all again and do it for my last class. So we got back up in 3 hours, but it might be slightly different. I don't know. Right? It definitely won't have dysentery. I'll tell you that right now. That's only in this class. My last class, I just made it. My object was this is the name of my game object. So here we go. Good? Underscore some other stuff. Exactly. I just kept going.
Gotta return something in this book.
Okay, wait. What are we supposed to be doing?
You're supposed to be writing the other functions.
So copy paste this shit to the bottom.
Yes.
Did he do one of these already?
Yes, the one right above
Oh,
where
he
it
did the
said.
constructor. Okay.
This
Yeah,
So I need
correct.
to
Oh, it's under
do
game. It's under game.
all the ones.
Just in the root.
Let me see.
So I copy that patch.
He already did string helper capitalize. Control visible. Wait, no. Undo that. No, why is it, what? No, stop it. Copy. Paste. No, it kept wanting to, oh wait, undo that. Do that.
cnreader.h has no such file or directory. Compilation terminated. Terminated.
You can put a return statement in boost.
Terminated. Terminated.
It has to become single value. So you could put a return.
Dude, we're gonna be so good at bringing down member functions.
Right? You learned anything this semester, it's how to copy and paste.
Yeah, it's like the best. Terminated.
But you only were able to return one thing. Right, so you could be in like a one.
Obama responds to Trump's decision on Iran.
You'll only return one.
Its ad has been terminated.
Dude, try putting in assignments like CSCI.
I tried that, but it says C and reader.h is not included. No, mine compiles. The only problem is it's not referencing C and reader. So I'm already done. Yeah, I was working on it while he was talking about the stuff about the game. You have to write for loops for lowercase and uppercase. You have to learn all of the for loops because you have to assign every single one of uppercase, every single one of lowercase, every single one of those, check to see if it's there. Yeah. Oh wait. No, this one checks to see if they're all alphabetical. So this one. I think it checks to see if they're any of them are, or they assign them all to numbers. So they all assign them to ASCII. That's what it does. So you have to write a for loop for that.